Chapter 21. Tuesday early evening. Doreen's head snapped up as she stared at Nan. What kind of business? Crystal's father has a criminal record, Nan said. Crystal's father has a criminal record? Doreen repeated slowly. Seriously? For what? Buying and selling illegal goods, Nan said in a low whisper, looking around as if somebody would hear them. Unable to help herself, Doreen also looked around, but of course they were surrounded by Mother Nature and not much else. How do you know this? Jose, one of the attendants here. His brother used to work for Crystal's father. Doreen pinched her nose as she thought about the connections inside Rosemore, the vast knowledge and network of both staff and residents, or inmates as Nan lovingly referred to them. And how does that relate to Crystal's disappearance? Jose has a theory, but he hasn't said much. He muttered something about Eric and blackmailing, even mentioned his sister, but was not clear on any of it. Nan continued, Of course I don't know if Jose knows anything useful, or if he's just spouting conspiracy theories. Slowly Doreen lowered her fork. And how did Jose know Crystal's father was a blackmailer? She asked. Did he go to the police about it? Nan twittered. Oh no. He knew because Eric was blackmailing him and his brother. Dumbfounded, Doreen just stared at her grandmother, her mind spinning, as she thought about how many more people had a reason to get back at Crystal's father. But why take the child? As revenge? Or was this a kidnapping, with ransom demanded? But then where is Crystal? Or was this a kidnapping gone wrong? You'll have to ask Mac about that, Nan said. But it's possible. Although I don't remember ever hearing anything about a ransom demand. What it does is widen the suspect pool though, Doreen said slowly. And that's both good and bad. What's bad about it? Nan asked curiously. Now you have more suspects to look at. Yes, but that's too many more, she said. Because now I have to investigate Jose and his brother along with Eric, and where does the new stepmom come into play? At that, Nan chuckled. Mary is Jose and Guido's sister. Bingo. Now they were getting somewhere. Good Lord, Doreen said, sitting back. Nan, completely nonplussed at the bombshell she had just dropped, picked up the pot of tea and filled Doreen's cup. Eat up. Eat up, she urged. Doreen picked up her fork again and finished the meat pie while she thought about the criminal games adults played, and the young girl caught in the middle. Does Jose have any theories on what happened to the little girl? She asked. Nan lowered her voice yet again. He says he thinks she's still alive. At that, Doreen's gaze flew up to study Nan's face, her eyes alight with excitement. If she's alive, where is she? Doreen asked. It would be really nice to find somebody alive this time, instead of another mess of dead bones. Wouldn't it? Nan said, chuckling. But Jose had no clue where. He must have some idea, she said. If he's come up with that idea, he must have a thought process that led him to it. Maybe, Nan said, but he's not very forthcoming. Of course not. However, maybe over time, in little bits and nudges, she suggested. Nan bobbed her head. My thoughts exactly, she said. Do you know where Guido works? He owns his own pawnshop now, Nan said. But Jose got training so he could work as a service care aide. But he used to work with his brother? Doreen clarified. I have to know who and what I'm dealing with, because it certainly defines whether we can trust the information he's offering. He didn't ask for money for the information, Nan said. But it's possible he might accept some in return for more information. It went against everything Doreen believed in, but if a little girl teenager now was out there alive, she needed to be returned to her family, if they were trustworthy people. And what was that worth? For Doreen it was priceless, but she didn't have much money. Does he need money? She asked. Absolutely, Nan said. He's got 4 kids, and his wife just lost her job because she's going on to medical disability. She's got really severe fibromyalgia. I'm not sure what that is, Doreen said, but I don't have any money to pay him. No, of course you don't, Nan said. I didn't mean that at all. Maybe not, Doreen said, but I have to see if there is more information. Of course he doesn't want to talk to Mac, does he? Nope, not at all. And before I paid for any information, Doreen said, her mind spinning on all of the things that could come out of something from an informant like that, we'd need proof of life. Nan clapped her hands together in delight. Oh my, you sound so efficient. Doreen flushed, placed her fork on the plate, then moved it slightly away. Muggs made a slight woof. She looked down at him, removed the fork from her plate, and held the plate for him to lick up all the rich gravy. It's not that I'm officially investigating this matter in any capacity, she reminded Nan. That's something I have to remember. But there is always detective jargon left in my brain after I read all these related articles that I find on the internet. Of course you are reading tons of articles. Nan studied Doreen. Aren't you? Doreen nodded. Yes, she said. But there is only so much we can find online. Somehow I have to loosen the tongues of those with dark secrets who need to tell someone. It's like the secret eats away at their souls until they can share it. If they've done something wrong, they often want their actions validated or to boast of their actions. That's why solving cold cases works so well for you, Nan said, because over time, some of these people are facing their own mortality and need to clear the air. True, Doreen said. But sometimes people are also doing it for other reasons. Sometimes they think it doesn't matter. Sometimes they think it's way too late to be punished. People have all kinds of reasons for doing things like that. Doreen picked the plate up from Muggs, put it on the table, and said, "Let me do some research on the family, particularly the stepmom. I know Clara was very suspicious of Mary." But that's almost a given, isn't it? Nan asked. Nobody likes to have the replacement wife looking after your child. At that, Doreen winced. I was replaced, but thankfully, I didn't have a child in the middle. And for the first time, she thought about what a blessing it was that she hadn't had children yet. She couldn't imagine joint custody, and then realized sadly her husband would never have let her have even that much. Money did buy a lot of things in life, and in this case, it would have bought a child's custody away from her. She sat back with her tea, sipped it, and said, "You've certainly given me some interesting things to think about." What do you think it means? Nan asked, leaning forward. I do respect your brain, dear. Doreen chuckled. You might, she said, but not too many other people do. She thought about this new information. I guess you don't have a photo of this Jose, Guido, or Mary, do you? Nan shook her head. Nope, I don't. And Jose isn't working today. I was hoping he could talk to you while you were here. He won't want to talk to me, Doreen said. At least I don't think so. She opened her purse, pulled out a little notebook, ripped off a piece of paper, and wrote down her cell phone number. But if he does, have him call me. Nan grabbed the piece of paper, folded it, and tucked it in her pocket. He's due back here tomorrow morning, she said. You never know what you might find out. No, Doreen said, I don't. Her mind was now consumed with a problem, and a kernel of an idea that wouldn't let go. But it was just a working theory. She didn't have any proof, and she needed to do a lot more research first. That's an interesting look on your face, Nan said in excitement. You have a theory, don't you? I have a theory, Doreen said, but nothing to say it's right. There has been a lot of theories for 10 years. But that means nothing. You don't think she's dead, do you? Nan asked. I never thought she was dead, Doreen said after a moment's reflection. But that's just an instinctive answer. There's no real way to know why or how. We have to find her before anybody will know the truth. She'd be 18 by now, and who knows what she looks like, Nan said. Maybe you can get Mac to do one of those age progression things. Doreen chuckled. Maybe, and most likely not. You let me worry about that. She pushed her chair back and looked down at the animals. Are you guys ready to go home? Apologetically, she said to Nan, we're pretty tired, and I still have to walk 10 to 15 minutes to get home. She stopped for a moment. Do you have any idea where Jose and Guido live? The pawn shop is up in the Rutland area of town, but I think Guido lives in the Glenmore area. Jose lives close by. Doreen vaguely knew those areas. Kelowna had once been a bunch of small communities that grew into each other before becoming Kelowna itself, but it was still full of small community names of the original settlements. Okay, that's not terribly helpful, she said, but I'll think about it. With that, she gave Nan a big hug and a kiss. Thank you so much for dinner. It was wonderful. Seeing she'd been here an hour and a half, she slowly took her leave and headed toward the creek again. With a happy and full tummy, a lovely cup of tea, sharing some memories and now new information to puzzle on, she strolled home. Halfway there, her phone rang. Hey Mac, she said. What's up? Nothing in particular, but my instincts kept saying you were heading into or already in trouble. What do you mean already? She cried in outrage. I haven't been in trouble all day. Did Scott finish? Scott, Agatha, and John, she said, the fatigue once again taking over her voice. It's been a hell of a day. I just had dinner at Nan's and got spoon-fed some very interesting new information on Crystal's case. Now I'm walking home. What kind of new information? Mac asked, his voice turning official. Probably nothing, she said airily. Doreen, he said, his voice heavy and hard. It's still an open case for us. I'm thinking the child's alive still, she said, giving him part of the information. There was silence on the other end, and then Mac said, Do you have anything to back that up? Maybe, she said. His voice was emotional this time. I'd do a lot to bring that child home. It's one of the cases that's weighed on me all these years. Then you'll be happy if I bring her home. And very gently, she hung up on him.